This is the 2024 GMC Sierra 2500 HD Denali Ultimate. Is it the best 3/4 ton truck? Well, we're going to find out in today's video. At least I'm going to give you the information to give me your opinion on that. I borrowed this model from my friends at Morgan Buick GMC, and one thing that's different about this video compared to the majority of these HD truck videos I do with these GMC models is that this model is not sold. Normally when they come into the dealership, they are pre-sold, so check out the video or the link down in the description of the video, and you can learn more if you want to come in to Morgan Buick GMC here in Northwest Louisiana in Shreveport and buy this truck. The exterior color on this model is onyx black. It's going to have an alpine umber interior, and we'll take a close look at every single aspect of this truck. There are quite a few changes to talk about, not so much with the exterior as much as increased horsepower and torque, more towing capabilities. And really the biggest or most noticeable change will be with the interior. That same area where a lot of you over the years have said, wow, Tom, these trucks are looking rather antiquated. Maybe not saying that anymore if you haven't looked at these trucks for the 2024 model year. Now, one thing I do want to show you here before I turn all the lighting on and we talk about what's here, you have the animated lights. I know a lot of people are going to say, I don't care about that. Well, it's part of what you're paying for, so I might as well show you. And as far as the exterior of the truck goes, the grille design has changed a little bit. The bumper design has changed a little bit. Other than that, the exterior isn't going to be that much different, but let's talk about what you're going to get if this is a truck you want to buy. And we'll start here with the front end with our lighting. LED lighting will be found everywhere you look, literally on this truck. Headlights, daytime running lights. I don't have the fog lights on, but those are also LED. You'll find the tow hooks here on the front, so that way when the Fords, the Rams, the Toyotas, the Nissans, all those other trucks out there get stuck, you can easily pull them right out of the snow, mud, or sand with your GMC 2500. Now, you will find the nice large grille here that is unique to this particular trim level. The GMC logo as well. It's not going to be in red. And here is the forward-facing camera. And for those who wonder about this little area that's kind of sticking out right here and you're wondering, what is that? That's the front camera washer. I'll show you how to use that when we get into the interior. And yes, you will find the functional air intake right here for what's under the hood. This is a four-wheel drive truck. How about tire and wheel size? 275 will be your width, a 65 series sidewall, and in this case going to be wrapped around the 20-inch wheels. And obviously you're going to have your trailering mirrors. Power adjustable, power folding, turn signal indicators built in. You can see the LED lighting built in right there. That's obviously going to be helpful after dark. Chrome mirror caps. There's the Ultimate logo, and you can see under there basically what's under the hood. I'll give you the information on that when we open the hood. More LED lighting on this side of the mirror. You can see your blind spot monitoring built in right there. And real fast, here is the remote for 2024. No massive changes where that is concerned, but it does have remote start. Now, one change that you'll find is that previously, when you wanted to use remote start, you had to lock the truck first and then push the button twice. Now you just push the button twice and it goes ahead and starts the truck, and it will lock it itself. We'll find quite a bit of chrome in a few different areas around the truck, around the windows, with your door handles, and the button right here. Nothing new, but it is here. I'll tell you about it because some of you may or may not know. That is passive entry. What does that do? That allows you, when you have the remote on your person, to walk up and push that button and lock or unlock all four doors. And you also have the power assist steps right here. And one thing that, again, I'll show you later in the video at the right time because we'll be in the interior to do this. If you're washing your truck and you're saying, man, I really would like to be able to keep those deployed. Well, there are a couple of ways you could do that. This door isn't unlocked, but let me do this. So what you could do is just not close the door all the way, but there's actually a setting where you can leave those deployed without having to have the door ajar, basically like that. Now you will notice that you have the step right here on the bedside. What that means is that these power steps don't have the button back here that you can kick and have the power steps come back. Not a big deal where that's concerned, but just so you can know what's here. And we'll have the cab light, LED in-bed lighting, and we finish things off back here with the very bright tail lights, and there's another light right here on the tailgate to help out when it's after dark. This truck really has lighting literally everywhere. It's all LED like I was saying earlier. And if you're wondering how to turn those lights on or off as far as the exterior goes, that's where you're going to turn on the cab and bed lighting. Here's the rest of the lighting that I showed you on the exterior of the truck. And obviously you'll control your headlights, taillights, and fog lights from this area. Under the hood, the most popular engine option you'll find with these trucks, the 6.6 liter Duramax diesel. 470 horsepower, 975 pounds-feet of torque. There is a 25% increase in low-end torque. That's good for towing. It's made to do a 10-speed automatic transmission. And if you're curious, the gas tank size on this truck is 36 gallons. And let's talk a little bit about functionality back here with the bed. You're going to have the corner steps or bed steps right here that make it easy to get in and out. I do like the fact that with this step here on the side of the bed, that if you need to gain access to just this area up here, well, that makes it easy to do that. But there's also an advantage that will help you back here if you just need to gain access just into the rear portion back here. But let's talk a little bit about the tailgate first. So what we're looking at is the Multi-Pro tailgate. If you want the tailgate that has the power down and power up feature, this one only does power down. You will not find the power up feature with this Multi-Pro tailgate. So that's your option. You'll have to go with the conventional tailgate to have the power up feature. Now, let's talk a little bit about functionality here. So here's what happens. You're going to have this section that folds down. You can use it for a table or, I don't know, a lot of different things. You can also take this section and fold it up, which is ultimately a step when it's all said and done, but it's also a multitasker because you could use it as a bed extender. Now, we'll close things back up here real fast, and here's bed extender number 2. So there's 2 options where that is concerned, as you can see. Now, what was I talking about earlier when I made mention of the fact that it's easier to gain access to just the front portion, or the rear portion, I should say, of the bed? Your arms would have to be really long to reach all the way to the front from here. I don't think I can do that. But back here, no problem. You can gain access to your 120-volt power outlet right here. You do have multiple tie downs within the bed. In fact, there's a total of 12. So you have 3 in the rear, 3 in the front. You have your bed liner here. In fact, you actually have a couple more tie downs beyond that, as you can see in this center section where the wheel wells are located, right up here and right up there. That's very useful in a multitude of ways. This truck also can be optioned to have the 5th wheel or gooseneck receiver. Everything is ready just to plug everything in right there as far as that goes. But that's not all we have here. You also have the ability to put down the step, as I was mentioning earlier, and actually use that for its true intended purpose. There is a grab handle here, and this is one of the big differences between the 2500, the HD trucks, and the 1500 Sierras. In that, honestly, with the 1500s, I don't feel like I need that grab handle. With these HDs, they're a little higher off the ground. I do like having the grab handle and something else that you'll have here. This is, in a lot of ways, the ultimate tailgating truck because you have your own party in the tailgate, basically. Here's your kicker audio system. And as you can see, depending on what you play your music off of, well, you can plug things in accordingly right there. There are lights built in right above that area. If I can get that to lock into place right there, snap into place, I guess would be a better way to put it. So lighting here, it'd make it obviously a lot easier to deal with after dark. Payload comes in at 1,736 pounds up to a max of 3,181 pounds. And with these trucks, you'll find a couple of different numbers on towing capacity. On the bottom end, 18,000 pounds. You can add the towing package. It will take it up to 22,000 pounds. And what that ultimately does is really turn everything. It's basically going to be a 3500 with a 2500 front end. One thing to note with that, depending on the ride quality that you want, well, you're going to have a little bit stiffer ride with that towing package. I know a lot of people out there are going to say, hey Tom, that's a heavy duty truck. It's supposed to ride rough. It's supposed to beat you to death and be sore at the end of the day. There actually is a nice little solution with the interior if you wind up with that. All right, let's take a deeper look into the interior. Alpine Umber, as I said earlier, you're going to have the nice comfortable armrests here. The baseball stitching right there, along with the additional contrast stitching on these doors, and very large door bins. So that's a good thing. And you can see that you can fold the seat cushions up here if you want to. But one thing that's different, depending on how things are optioned back here, you can go with this under seat storage, which actually is very helpful if Tom can get that to open up. There we go. Well, maybe. Let's see how talented I am. There we go. You can see what's under there. Obviously, it's on both sides. Hey, we're doing this in one take. But you can see what's there where that is concerned. Pretty easy to knock those down, especially two-handed, not one-handed. And there is absolutely no shortage of space, legroom or headroom within the interior of this truck. The rear seat pockets right here on both sides, the driver and passenger side, well, that's going to help. And one of my personal favorite features right here, the in-seat storage. I mean, the space is there. GMC decided to make use of that. I think that's a good thing. And you'll also find the fold-down armrest with the cup holder built in right there. You can see the rear window defogger, or defroster as we used to know it. I guess that name has changed over the years. Here's the grab handle to make it a little bit easier to hop inside. There are cup holders everywhere, including on the rear of the center console. And here with the Denali Ultimate trim level, we're going to find heated seats back here in the rear, and then also, not unique to this trim level, but it's here, the rear air conditioning vents and a couple of USB options. Now, for those of you who say, Tom, I love a panoramic sunroof, well, that's not available, at least not right now. Tell GMC if that's something you would like to see on these trucks at some point in the future. But you do have the conventional size sunroof. Now, if you're like me, which, by the way, I have ordered one of these trucks. It's not a Denali Ultimate, but I did order one for myself. I decided to option out the sunroof, or maybe I should say not option in. Just personal preference, but if you're wondering, yes, you can get one of these trucks without a sunroof if you so desire. And I heard those of you on the back row that were talking during my video, but I heard what you said, and don't worry, I'm going to let you hear the exhaust note because you notice the exhaust pipe right here. And for those of you who are saying, okay, Tom, you gave us an exhaust note, why don't you show us how that remote start works? So I'm going to prove what I said earlier. Notice the truck is not locked. So all I'm going to do is push the button twice, and the truck starts. Now, I don't know if you could hear it or not, but the doors did lock automatically when I pushed the remote start button. So another question I'm sure you want an answer to. Okay, Tom, if I want to come in and buy this truck, what's it going to cost me? $96,470. You asked, so I told you. Okay, don't shoot the messenger now. So here we go. Let's take a look into the front seating area. Again, these comfortable armrests, basically the same look that we saw with the rear doors, large door bins. Now you will find the speakers right here with the Bose premium audio system. There is the Ultimate logo on the door sill, and the seats are very comfortable. Heated, ventilated, and fully power. And when I was joking around earlier about these trucks needing to have a rough ride, so they're really a truck. Well, how do you overcome that? Well, if you're driving down the road and sitting in the front seat, you toggle that back and forth. What is that? Massage seats. Yep, that's right. This is really more of a luxury truck than anything else, but it still functions as a pickup truck. And I'll tell you what, when I say there are storage spaces everywhere, I'm not kidding. So you have the upper glove box, the lower glove box, a little bit of space right here that can be useful. And once again, I love having those grab handles right there. Let's take a little bit deeper look here into the interior. And no, it doesn't come with the sunglasses. I just have mine sitting there. But you can see your one-touch buttons right here. I think you know what everything is. And obviously, one thing that might be of interest. Maybe you're looking at one of these trucks for the very first time as far as the 24 model goes, and you're saying, wait a minute, Tom, where your sunglasses are sitting is where the wireless charging pad should be, isn't it? Well, maybe, but not anymore. It's right here. So there it is. You'll basically just drop your phone right in here in front of the center console. Also, your cup holders here. And speaking of the center console, it's big. That's helpful. Nice and wide, plenty of room for using it as an armrest for the driver and the passenger. And there's a lot of connectivity throughout the interior of this truck. No doubt about that. We're going to find some right here within the center console. You have the removable tray. You also have the power outlet right here, if so desired to use that. And the controls right here for the sunroof. As far as opening that and closing that, it tilts open and it slides open. And we're just getting started, really. Let's take a look at what the driver is going to find. And I'm going to get over there and turn on the ignition and turn on the massage seat. Okay, a few additions. Probably no surprise here on the driver's side door, including what we have right here. Push that button. There's your power folding side view mirrors. We'll push that to open that back up. You will have seat memory here on the driver's side as well. I think for the price point of this truck, that should also be over there on the passenger side, but just my personal thought on the matter. And earlier I showed you all the controls here for the exterior lighting, all that good stuff. You also have your drive mode selector right here, your power parking brake. And this probably tells you, those three switches right there, that this truck has a head-up display. Now, if you are driving down the road after dark and your auto high beams are not working, or maybe you want to turn them off, this is where you manage that feature, in case you were curious. That's a real multitasker right there. It does a lot of things. And because I've driven around quite a few of you on the road, I know that some of you know all of what it does and some of you don't. Here are the animated graphics on your 12.3 and 13.4 inch screens. No, I'm not going to retake this scene because of one tongue twist. It gives you a reason to laugh anyway. You can laugh at me instead of with me. And you have the rear view camera mirror. That can come in handy in a lot of ways. And I will be honest with you, yes, you can turn that into the conventional style mirror, use it as a conventional style rear view mirror, or the rear view camera mirror. Now, it does take a little bit of getting used to, but it gives you such an improved view of what's behind you. Once you're used to it, I don't think you're going to go back. That's just my opinion on the matter. But here is your 12.3 inch instrument cluster, and you can do a lot here. So what you're going to see me do here is that. We'll push that left arrow, and you can go to display layout and change a lot depending on what you want. Or you can go individually to different areas of the instrument cluster, the display up here, and make changes. And if you get to the point and say, man, I really don't like what I've done here, you can go right down there and hit reset to defaults. Pretty easy to deal with. I had somebody one time who asked me if they could get rid of the truck right here. And yes, you actually can. Now, I don't know if you can see the head-up display there very well, but it is there. Hopefully the camera will pick that up for you. I don't know if it will or not. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes, but there are a lot of different sources of information right there. Just makes things very useful, very helpful. I like that. Your steering wheel mounted controls. And for those guys out there that are saying, a truck has to have a steering column mounted shifter or it's not a real truck. Well, guess what? That's what you have right here. So that's good. You can operate that and have fun with it all day long, right? And something else that is conventional, I guess, kind of like that shifter right there, is right here. That's going to be the button for controlling or knob for the radio. You know what's there. And I like the fact that depending on where you are on the screen, you have the ability to hit home right there or right underneath the knob for the radio. You can do that as well. So wireless connectivity here for your cell phone, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. As you can see, since neither is in use, they're kind of grayed out down there. And you have Google Assistant, which I will not demonstrate because I might also demonstrate Google in your house. That's happened before, so I've kind of learned my lesson on that. I guess I could play a prank on some of you too, but I don't know. You might not like me after that. But you just say, hey, you know who, and you can do everything here. You can adjust the temperature with the air conditioning. You can ask her to tell you a joke. I don't know if you can change the voice to a male or not. I don't actually know that. I haven't tried that yet, but I bet you can. Not sure. But you can do so much here. Even get directions with Google Maps. You really can keep your hands on the steering wheel the whole time you're driving. You're supposed to actually do that, by the way. Well, anyway, you should know that. But yes, it's okay to laugh. I like to have a little fun here. So let's talk about cameras, because there are cameras aplenty. Now, remember earlier when I showed you the front view camera? And you were probably saying to yourself, well, Tom, why don't you show us how to use that? Just wanted to test your patience a little bit, so I'm going to. But here's the trick. Here's the button that will cause that front view camera washer to work. It just sprays windshield washer fluid across the camera. But it does it every single time you run the windshield washer fluid. So it doesn't have to be up on the screen for that to happen. Just so you know, it's going to do that no matter what. There's your front view. There is your rear view. And we'll take a look at our different views overhead. That's useful. Our side view camera views, there are a couple there. And we'll also look at what we have with the rear. And you have your overhead 360-degree view. There's a lot here, and that's not all there is. If you're looking for somebody and suspect they're taking a nap, well, that's how you find out. You can spy on people sitting in your bed if you want to. There's so much here. It is just unreal how much you get with these trucks. And like I said earlier, you have the heated seats. That's going to be the first section for the seat cushion. That's going to be for the seat back. Or you have ventilated. Ironically, for a rare change, we don't need that here at Northwest Louisiana today. Normally we do. But you can see where we are today. I think I can actually get away with maybe 72 or a little below that for my temperature. You can sync those two sides together. Obviously, there's your fan speed down there. That's where you're going to control that. It's a really simple setup to use. I like that. Very easy to deal with. And obviously with the truck, you can go into settings here. I could do a whole video on nothing but this 13.4-inch touchscreen. I'm not going to do that today, but just to kind of give you a brief overview of what's here. If you're in a place, I do encourage you to always use your seatbelt when you're driving on the road. But if you're somewhere where you're just moving around in a parking lot or in the pit area at the racetrack, I don't know what you might be doing. But you can turn off that buckle to drive feature if you want to. The same with your rear seat reminder. But there's so much going on here. How about your collision detection systems? I know you'd like to know about safety. So you can see what all is here. Automatic emergency braking, front pedestrian braking, adaptive cruise control, or cruise go notifier. You see what all is here. There is so much here. I'm not going to show you everything just because, well, we don't want to make the video that long. But overall, that's what you have. And I might have missed this earlier. There are a couple of USB options right here as well within the center console. And in case you were curious, I did show you your drive mode selector earlier. Here are your driving modes. We have off-road, and we're going to have normal, and that's all you're going to have. But in case you were curious, there you go. Okay, let's get out on the road for our test drive. And one thing I really enjoy about driving these HD trucks is that you really feel comfortable. You're high up, you feel more protected because you're in such a large vehicle. Obviously, you want to be safe no matter what, but I tell you what, I really enjoy driving these trucks. Now, one disadvantage to something this large is that often when you're driving maybe a little over the speed limit, it doesn't feel like it because you're in such a large vehicle, you're so high off the ground, so it really changes the sensation of speed. But contrary to what a lot of people might think, you don't really have a situation with this truck where it's really uncomfortable. And even with the towing package, it does give it a little bit more of a rigid ride, and as much as I joked around about that earlier, it's not unbearable or anything along those lines. But like I said, if you start to get sore, well, just turn on your massage seats. Now, one thing I'm doing with today's drive on the road that I just turned on to, it's definitely not the smoothest road. You might not be able to tell, but I tell you what, if you want to find out how comfortable your vehicle is, this is a good place to do it. Kind of a washboarded out road, and I'm in the right-hand lane, which is typically the worst of the two when you have a situation like this. Yeah, I noticed the bumps. It's a little bit rigid, but it's not too bad. So, but you know what I am going to do is turn on the massage seat, even though I don't really need to. But I really like that feature, and there's all kinds of different settings that you can use for that. And you didn't see that come up on the screen because you may have noticed earlier that the camera's on. Now, you couldn't do that prior to 2024. I don't think. I believe they went off, I want to say at 15 miles per hour, but one way or another, these trucks are very enjoyable to drive. Personally, I don't find it as being a difficult thing to get used to. Depending on what you're stepping out of, maybe you're stepping into something like this for the first time, or someone's borrowing it in the family, or whatever the case is, who isn't used to that, well, I still don't think it's a big deal. You know, you do have all the different camera views that will show you what's going on around you. If you're thinking to yourself, well, am I going to hit that car next to me that parked a little too close? Well, you can see on the screen right here, that's no problem to deal with. And I do love the fact that one of the greatest advantages here is the fact that you have such a large cab. It is so comfortable, so much space, leg room, headroom. By no means do you feel cramped here, and that is something I really enjoy about driving these trucks. Now, one thing that you might want to stay tuned for, I don't know for sure when I'm going to get my 2500 HD, but when I do, well, then I might be able to give you a little bit better idea on things such as towing and payload and different things like that, kind of a more long-term review of sorts, and let you know what it's like. I'll tell you one thing, if you want to drive really slowly in this truck when you're driving behind a dump truck that's hardly moving, well, it's still fun to drive. It's just one of those things that happens. But one way or another, with the technology that's here, I do want to touch on this for those of you who maybe are stepping into something like this for the first time that's new, say a 2024 model, and you're saying to yourself, okay, Tom, I really like the capabilities of that truck. It's a luxury truck, but it still works great as a pickup truck. You can tow a lot of weight. You can haul a lot in the bed. The technology is not something I'm too excited about learning. It may look complicated, but I promise you, even somebody who's never messed with this kind of thing before, you can use the hunt and peck method and figure it out for yourself. No big deal. I had to learn it for the first time at some point. I was able to do it, and I think if I can do it, anybody else can. So don't let that scare you off. There's a lot here, but that doesn't mean it's hard to learn. A really very well-rounded truck in a lot of ways. And one more thing I forgot to show you. I'm going to push the button in the middle right there, and you'll see that the trailering mirrors are doing their thing. Now I'm pulling them back in. I had them extended out, but just in case you were curious. So tell me what you think down in the comments section. Is the 2024 GMC Sierra 2500 HD Denali Ultimate, besides being an absolute mouthful to say, is it the best 3/4 ton truck? Tell me what your thoughts are. And by the way, while I see it here through the lens of my GoPro, no, you can't actually make the lights do that. That's just happening because of my camera. A lot of the cameras we shoot with here on YouTube cause that to happen with lights. So you can't really do that. It would be kind of cool if you could. But tell me what you think about this truck. I do want to say a special thanks to my friends at Morgan Buick GMC for loaning me this truck for the day. And a special thanks to each and every one of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button. That helps me out a lot. If you haven't subscribed to the Vehicle Visionary YouTube channel, please consider doing so. And if you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.